Everyone, just give us one more minute while we get the new Wi-Fi password up and running. Everyone's up and running? All right, 1 minute countdown. Go on the Wi-Fi now, so I will call this meeting to order. Up first is going to be our invocation. Pastor?
Father, we just come here tonight thanking you for this great nation, thanking you for the many, many blessings that you have given us. And Lord, that you have spared us from so much of the unrest that's going on around the world. And Lord, we pray for peace in those situations. We pray for guidance for our leaders. And again, we thank you for these men and women who are on council and work here at the city to make this a better place to live. And we thank you for all those that guard and watch over us. And we just want to thank you for all you do, all those angels you put around us we don't even know about. So we want to give you glory and praise tonight and ask for your wisdom, unity, and guidance in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much. All right, for the pledge, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And thank you for always being here and praying over us. I really appreciate your time. All right, at this point, I will ask for an agenda approval, but I do have one ask, and that is for the city manager report 4C to be pushed to 4A in respect of two Fort Walton Beach representatives that we have here. I appreciate your guys' time.
Second.
All right, calling the vote. Ayes have it, so moved, and we are working on the vote IT at the moment. All right, so moving right along, we are going to go into the consent agenda. Oh, public comments, there we go, sorry about that. All right, so at this time, I'll take public comments. So if anyone is here from the public that wishes to speak, please do so.
My name is Stella Scoma, and I live at 332 Tequesta Drive. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stella Scoma, and I'm here today to ask for your consideration of my nomination and also express why I believe I would be an excellent candidate for Destin City Youth Council. I'm currently an honors student attending Destin High School, and I'm participating in their Student Council and Fellowship of Christian Athletes program. I was also recently chosen to have the honor of being in Destin High School's very first homecoming court. I've earned multiple volunteer hours at Destin's annual fishing rodeo and my local church. I would like to be in youth council because I want the privilege of serving our community and helping our residents' voices and concerns to be heard. I have a strong work ethic and understand the importance of integrity and moral values. I'm able to work well and communicate with my peers, as well as have adaptability and commitment to self-improvement. I believe that the unification and love for our city is what makes it so special, and I think that it's amazing that the youth here have an opportunity for their voices to be heard through Youth Council. I am eager to contribute my skills, ideas, and energy to this role and learn how our city council works together as a whole. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Awesome, thank you for being here. All right.
What was your name, young lady?
Stella
Spell
S-C-O-M-A.
Stoma?
Stella, S-T-E-L-L-A.
All right, anyone else? Anyone else for public comments before I close? All right, everyone's here for the pure entertainment. I appreciate that. All right, closing public comments and moving right along. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, buttons, people. Come on, buttons. Motion and a second, and I'll call the vote. Yep, there you go. All right, ayes have it, so moved, unanimous. All right, moving right along. City manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 4A is regarding installation.
4C.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know why I handed it to you for me to hand it back to me. All right, so I am on the co-op board for the Okaloosa County Transit System, and we have been working on we've been working with HDR on a more effective route for the busing in the area. And after the preliminary data had came through, Route 30, which is the Fort Walton to Destin route, was one of the least effective in the preliminary data. And so we have been looking at alternate solutions to make this happen. And so the ferry idea that I have been kind of campaigning and messaging came across pretty well in the data. And so our committee had approved it, and now we are hoping to go in front of Okaloosa County Board, but we wanted to do so in partnership with all three benefactors, which would be Fort Walton, Destin, and the county. I think one of the main things to stress over this is that our public transportation has always been for catching the bottom of our population and making sure that even the most needed group has means of transportation to some of the government agencies, but it's kind of a catch-22 when it comes to funding at the state level. You got to have ridership to get funding, but you need funding to have better ridership. And so what I'm hoping to do with this ferry system is to allow this to be more of a commercial-based option for people to go from commerce area to commerce area, and in doing so, allow that ridership to go up so that the whole entire route system can get more funded. So the idea of allowing our tourists, again, to help us show numbers to then get funds to thus improve the route system for all locals in the community. And the other thing I wanted to note is I've been talking to J.B. Witten at Crestview Mayor, and they are desperately in need of more bus routes inside the city. Right now, there's just a 85 corridor up north and south, and I have visited our EC Rider establishment and kind of their home base, and they are completely at capacity when it comes to allowing more vehicles to go in. It's just not it's not reasonable at this time. There's just no more space for more buses to come. So it's not just an idea of let's just add more buses, but we also have a capacity issue for the infrastructure. So I'm hoping the ferry system not only can benefit the two southernmost cities, but also allow that bus to then go to the Crestview area for their consideration of what they're looking to do, and that's to have more public transportation in Crestview. So I'm hoping this is a win-win across the board, and I'm just seeking your guys' input on this, and I'm hoping to do a 25% split between both Fort Walton, 25% with the city of Destin, and then 50% going from the county. That was me just coming up with what I thought was kind of fair 50-50 numbers, but of course I'm here for your guys' input and suggestions on the matter. So I'll open up for discussion at this point.
Yeah, a couple of things. So I noticed on the read ahead, there is no motion, and so this is just a discussion on would we be amenable to spending $12,786 to cost share?
I'm asking for a motion. Every time I bring something up, I never get a recommended motion. So this is me coming up, so I think for the sake of due diligence, this isn't a staff recommended, this is a Bobby recommendation.
Got it. So, city manager, you know the mayor can't be the legislative sponsor. So, Crystal, where do we propose the $12,786 is coming from?
My immediate thought would be from one of the contingency funds. There's city manager contingency and council contingency. Another thought, well, we're also working on pulling together enough funding for SRS to do the city center study. So I was going to put on the table maybe delaying the marina feasibility study. So that would be another funding source.
How much is in the marina feasibility study for?
50,000.
Okay. So the only thing I appreciate your passion. I don't think the ferry's going to work, but I'm willing to spend some money contingent on Fort Walton Beach and Okaloosa County spending your recommended amount. So I'll make a motion to approve $12,786 for a study on the ferry and transportation within the area, contingent on both Fort Walton Beach City Council approval and the Board of County Commissioners, Fort Walton Beach City Council approval of $12,786, and the Okaloosa County Commission approval of $25,572, and that the money be taken from the Marina Contingency Study Fund.
All right, I have a motion
my
on the
motion.
table. Second. Got a second. Any further discussions? And yes, sir.
So at the moment, we don't have a route or anything established?
So right now, the study is going to confirm exactly the different execution points for both Fort Walton and Destin as far as applicable places, as well as what they call KPIs, or basically some checkpoints that would show either for or against the feasibility of a ferry and how well it would work. So this study is all about the logistics of where and basically the ridership that they can estimate through some certain variables I guess they have.
Okay, so we have a study going on now?
Yes, HDR is currently having a study through the county. This, after their preliminary data, this money that we're asking for, this $51,000 in total, would add to the study the ferry system and create a 90-day extension on their study to then give the data for this. So there had been 5 goals originally. This would add a 6th ferry study goal to their HDR full scope of work.
So the county's paying for the study up till now.
Yes, yes, sir.
Do they not intend to continue with that?
Yeah, no, that's done. The ferry system and what we're asking for, the money on the table, is to have that missing gap for the ferry system. So
And so the county has requested that we chip in?
this is me trying to be in front of it and kind of propose a situation for them where we're not just, hey, we have an idea, pay for it. So this was just a way for me to, what I felt was a fair share. It's on our strategic vision, and I thought this was a good way of showing them a good partnership and the willingness to want this, and not just my idea, but a council, 2 councils' approval, and then the BCC coming in and kind of blessing it, if you will.
Okay, well, I've been watching Pensacola's struggle to establish a ferry now for 3-4 years. And they have had quite a tussle with it.
Yes.
Yep.
And they have much larger populations than we do. But I'll support doing the study, but after that, then we're gonna have to really give some hard thought to it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think the study will either, if it comes back and not favorable, then I think we just, cross that off our strategic vision of the ferry and we move on to other public transportation ideas. But just for anyone watching, the other idea that's in the agenda, as well as the Fort Walton Beach Ferry, but to also eventually extend this out to Baytown Wharf is interested in connecting it, and that would just be 2 general commercial hubs that, from 98's perspective, get bottlenecked. So this was a way to offload, hopefully, some 98 commercial traffic onto the ferry system, and I kind of lean on, if Disney does it, maybe we should try it. And so that was always just a thought of where this was coming from. And who knows, this could be as big as workforce transportation in the morning to get people north of the bay to the Harbor District from Fort Walton and Destin. And it could just be a commercial hub that runs during the summertime. But the feasibility study is just to show that a link between Fort Walton and Destin would be feasible. Me and Crystal had talked about using those KPIs and their measurements, and then doing our own version for Baytown, or at least mirroring that if we needed to go through a second study, or if we could just grab both datas and see if 2 routes to Destin would make it a more attractive network, if you will. So.
I suppose it'll be a high-speed ferry otherwise.
Right, but, yep, so as of right now, I did a little trolling test. If you went from the Fort Walton Beach landing to, at the time, where our new Royal Royal Melvin Park is, it's about a 32-minute ride where half of it is in no wake zone and the other half is in the bay. So you're at 30. So that's where we're at the moment. That's how passionate I am. I went on a little boat ride. Yeah. All right. Any other discussions?
No, thank you for bringing this tonight.
Yeah.
And things in Pensacola might not work in Pensacola, but Fort Walton to Destin and Destin to Fort Walton is definitely a different
Yeah, I think.
town than Pensacola, whatever's happening over there. So I look forward to seeing what they bring. And with our new property under the bridge and a possible future walk under the bridge, I mean, there's a lot of potential here.
And if we go
I know
that
that's
far.
not even what
yeah.
you're talking about, but that's just one more thing to add to the
Exactly.
study, I assume, that they'll look at, so.
Yep, and I wanted to
excited.
go off what we have. If we were to put it at One Harbor, that brings it down to a 22-minute commute back and forth.
And that saves 8 minutes. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
8 minutes
So,
of a there, drop off back.
Thank
Yep.
you, Bobby. Mr.
All right, well, I'll call the vote at this time, and I'm still blind up here.
Mayor?
Sorry, go ahead. All right, we'll do vocals. All right, we'll go old school. Well, anyone who's got an idea or just a thought, please just let me know. Yep.
Yeah, I want to ask, when you do the study, I want to make sure it encompasses how much parking we potentially lose by incorporating the ferry.
Or maybe gain.
How much funding, or potentially gain. I don't know many people that want to leave Destin and go to Fort Walton,
But maybe
Right.
Baytown.
but we'll see.
Yep. All right. We'll call the vote orally. So Councilman Gao, we'll keep going left to right on my side. Buttons, please.
Yes.
And I will vote yes.
And I will vote yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sirs. All right, ayes have it, so moved. I will keep you guys updated on it. All right, City Manager Lance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, now we'll go to item 4A, which is staff requesting council's permission to install no U-turn signage at 4 locations on Airport Road. So it is not all the locations, but there are some where it would benefit the city, where trucks and vehicles are trying to U-turn and can't quite make the turn and going into the storm swale and destroying the irrigation or whatever else happens to be in that storm swale. And if they don't do that, then they're conducting 3-point turns, bringing traffic to a standstill at those intersections. So Mr. Burgess has put this together for us, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Burgess for any further details.
Okay, thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like the City Manager stated, tonight we're requesting the installation of 4 no U-turn conditions along Airport Road. Staff has received multiple calls over the past couple of years concerning the condition of the road shoulders in these areas and brought these concerns to the attention of the Public Works and Public Safety Committee for their consideration. The U-turn allowances there are often too short for vehicles, especially larger trucks, to negotiate in a single movement. So like Lance stated, it requires the driver to either drive off the pavement onto the shoulder into the swale or make a 3-point turn within opposing travel lanes. In addition, drivers that drive onto the road shoulder damage the turf, create drop-offs, and damage our irrigation systems. The 4 locations are Airport Road at Cedar Street eastbound, Airport Road at Airport Vet Clinic eastbound, Airport Road at Keller Drive eastbound, and lastly, Airport Road at Gulf Plaza, which is a commercial development, and that's northbound movement. Photos of the road shoulders have been provided in your packets, and the cost of materials to provide for these 4 installations is approximately $600. The Public Works and Public Safety Committee reviewed this request at its August 15th meeting. The minutes are included in your packet and recommends that council approve these changes.
All right, do I have a motion on the floor?
I'll move we approve.
I got a motion and second. Discussion, my only thought for, we can always take the sign out later, is if we were to ever get FDOT to allow us to put up some kind of blocking on that turn lane when you're trying to get into Airport Road from the Beach Liquors commercial complex there. I know a lot of people get frustrated that people don't realize that that it ends into a turn lane, and then they stop trying to merge over. If we were to ever want to put the billiards up, I think, that number 4 is where they would want to do a U-turn to try to get back on 98 if we were to do that. I think that's a later discussion, but just the thought of what would it take then to widen that turning radius, or are we allowed, or what does that look like to widen something in the future to make that a legal U-turn if we were to go down that route to put up those billiards?
Yeah, that would,
Ballers, thank
Bollards,
you,
yeah.
Yeah, and billiards, yeah.
So that
Playing
would
pool
be-
over here.
That would be more of the discussion for our esteemed city engineer seated behind me. But at this point tonight, we're just concerned over traffic safety. And that one that you mentioned there at Gulf Plaza is actually the worst of the 4.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's why, because they're, oh no, and they give them back out. So that was just my thought was, how do we go further with it? But yeah, I'm in favor for it all, even though I don't get a vote, so. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councilman Guile? I know, right?
Yes.
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 For the record, Councilman Destin said yes. He didn't push his button. More now than ever, it matters. All right, ayes have it, unanimously so moved. City Manager, 4B.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 4B is regarding the Florida Power and Light undergrounding overlay map that was requested by Councilmember Bagby. This is for informational purposes. There's no motion recommended. So I will turn it over to Mr. Bagby, and we have Ryan Scott here who put this together for us if there's any additional questions.
Yeah, I want to thank Ryan and give him the opportunity to explain the different colors because you might get confused if you don't know what you're actually looking at. Ryan?
Yes, thank you. So the map that was provided, there's some red colored lines, dark blue colored lines, and then light blue colored lines. The red colored lines are the proposed conduits to install. Dark blue is existing to remain. And then the light blue is connecting from where the new transformers are back to the electrical service for whatever unit it's going to. So mainly you want to focus on the dark red lines is all the new stuff to be put in the ground.
And so the only thing that I was trying to see is what because we're paying for all these lines. We the city, we the citizens, and so and I understand in the residential neighborhoods why we're doing that, because if you leave it to just, Jim Bagby running the line on his lot, I may dig a 6-inch deep slit trench and throw the power line in there and cover it up and say, we're done. But a lot of these commercial properties, we're running a long way, not in the right of way, but on their property. And the only thing I would say is the consultant ought to ask them if they want their contractor to put it in because of landscaping or other issues, because if we install it, my expectation, I guess, is it would be installed just like it's laid out here. Point A to point B, straight line, just like it is overhead, not, oh, well, I need you to miss this tree and I need you to miss that bush and we've got, no, it's an A to B thing because this ought not to be a huge cost on commercial property. So I just wanted y'all to see what it's actually going to look like going forward. And Ryan, thank you again, and staff, thank you again.
All right, any discussions further? Seeing none? Yes, sir.
All right, on to 4D is the Destin Youth Council membership appointments. I'm going to turn this over to Ray just for a brief introduction here.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If you allow me to summarize your agenda item, we've received 17 applications for membership to the Destin Youth Council. By resolution, the maximum number of membership is 14. Now, out of the 17 applicants, we only have 5 students that are Destin residents. We have 9 that live just outside the city limits, and you just heard from one of them, from Ms. Scoma. And 2 at Miramar Beach, Walton County. 1 is from Shalimar. 15 of the students attend Destin High School. 1 goes to Fort Walton Beach High School, and 1 attends Collegiate High School in Niceville. In 2017, the council amended the bylaws, allowing 3 non-resident members to the Youth Council. The bylaws were further amended last year to allow 30% of the members as non-resident members, increasing that number to 4. Tonight, based on the current bylaws, you can only appoint up to a maximum of 9 members. That if you choose to appoint all 5 Destin residents plus 4 non-residents. By resolution also, each member of the council may nominate up to 2 members of the Destin Youth Council. Now, so each member of the council may nominate a student individually or as a group as they have done in the past. But in the past, it was a lot easier because we've never had more than 14 applicants. So they would usually just appoint the whole lists. But we can't do that tonight because we have 17 applicants and the non-residents outnumbered the residents by more than 2 to 1. So I have a couple of recommendations if you want to hear it. Okay, go ahead.
I will take it away then.
Well, I think the no-brainer part of this is to nominate the 5 Destin residents. I mean, I'm disappointed, and I shared with the staff during my pre-brief or whatever, and they told me the PIO and the city manager or something they went to Fort Walton Beach High School, they went to Niceville High School, where Destin kids go if they don't go to.
We just went to Destin High School.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, the mayor, not the city manager. Yeah. Oh, you just went, okay.
To Destin High School.
Well, okay.
And the middle school, but that was more of a priming up.
Okay, I would say go to Fort Walton Beach and Niceville because that's where most of the kids who live in Destin actually go to high school. They don't.
It was part of the Florida League of Cities Government
Yeah.
Week. So
Okay.
it was just a collaboration of everything.
That's fine. So anyway, I think the no-brainer is to, what?
I was just going to make sure to say that we did call and leave messages there and ask to go there.
Okay. Yeah, I would just go see, anyway, I saw Spolsky last week. Anyway, so those 5 are no-brainers. I was just going to nominate Palmer Lindsley. I nominated him last year. He doesn't live, but they live in Kelly, and, he does a lot in the community. And then my other one was if you got you show up, you get it. So the other, I don't know if anybody's opposed to that, but I would say the 5 that live in Destin for sure, Palmer, Lindsley, and then Stella, and I'll miss it, Skoma. I would not nominate those 7 to be on the Destin Youth Council.
You want to take that? It's 2 per council member?
May I call their names up just for the record?
I apologize. Briar Ramswell, Carolyn Pitchlin, Kaylin Curl, Jared Cutts, Sophie Corey, Palmer Lindsley, and Stella Skoma.
All right.
And then that leaves some at a future meeting, but I would like to see more kids from Destin that
I
probably go to
will.
Fort Walton Beach or Niceville.
I will keep the parade alive and go there next. All right, so I got a motion on the table. Do I hear a second for those 7?
Can you repeat the names? I'm sorry.
All 5, and then in the second column, Palmer, Lindsay, and then Stella Skoma is one of the 2 9 grade. And I'll throw a pitch out there for annexation at this point.
Well, I'd like to, either he can add it to it, or we can continue talking, but I'd like to add Charlie Frankfurt and Palmer Robbins as well. And I'd also like to note that your person that you're putting on it again is not a city resident, Palmer Lindsley. He did go to Fort Walton as well, but most of these kids go to Destin High School.
What were your 2 again? I'm sorry.
Charlie Frankfurt,
okay.
because they were a member of last year's
Yep.
group.
Yeah, he's awesome. I like him a lot.
And Palmer Robbins.
Okay. All right, so now we're up to 9, and that would be your 2 for Councilman Schmidt. So now we are up to 5, 4.
We got the maximum now.
All right, good deal. All right, any other discussions? Listen, I'm not going to do math in front of a live audience here. Yes, sir.
was contacted by one student, Bella Castaneda. Is she on this list at all? Yes, I would add,
She's on this list, but we did not put her name out there yet.
I'll nominate that we put her name since she took the initiative at least to call a council person.
If we nominate Castaneda, that will make it 5 non-residents, and that is one more than the maximum that you allow. Because under the rule,
Just like a Destin, let's just
But you
change the
can,
rule.
you can
seems
amend the
we,
resolution if you want.
It seems we change that rule every year.
Well, after this, I think you could,
Well, hang on, I think I have, so we're authorized the maximum 14, right?
Council
Means-
authorizes maximum of 14 as of last year's amendment.
Nine have to be residents and up to 5 can be non-residents, right?
4.
4,
Well, 30% of 14 is 4.2, so
yeah, 4.
depends how you want it to,
Okay, so that's what we're bumping up against.
So we already have 4.
we already have 4
already have
non-residents right now and the 5 residents.
I'll make part of the motion to amend the rule to allow 5 non-residents.
Can they do that without amending the resolution?
Can amend the resolution.
all right.
Just amend
And
the
who is
resolution.
second? Who's seconding on?
I'll second that, but no more than, the whole intent is, Destin and, the whole annexation issue and the whole, but 4 or 5 is not going to kill us. But when we start getting 10 non-residents and 3 residents, then I have a problem personally with that. I'll just.
If I may also add that by your resolution, the quorum cannot have more non-residents than residents. In other words, quorum is 8,
Right.
or,
One thing to think about, and my 2 cents for what it's worth, maybe if we have all these non-residents sitting on this youth council, that will help with our annexation policy in the future as they start getting involved in our city's government and policies. Maybe then they talk to their parents and they talk to their neighbors, and you could think that's not going to happen, but this is definitely one step in the right direction to help
I don't know where you're
possibly
going.
in the future. So if there's more non-Destin residents that want to be on this youth council, bring it on. If they're living in these neighborhoods in Destin, they play ball with my family members and kids and go to Destin High School. I don't care what school they go to. Bring them. It's going to help our future annexation one day, right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
One vote.
Bring them in.
So for my 2 cents.
Yep.
No. But the other thing that, we've talked for years, it's got to mean something to live in Destin. We do the parking stickers, we do, it's got to mean something to be paying taxes in Destin and not just getting all the benefits of the Destin name. The other thing that I would ask, Ray, is that you do a monthly report. They have monthly meetings, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we have, and enforce, we have this rule for the other committees, but we enforce because I see this a lot when we get academy nominations in my other job. Kids who are on 20 different things, but they don't do anything on any of the 20 different things. So I want kids that actually show up every month and go out and clean up the beach or help clean up the harbor or whatever. Well, I know that's your thing. And so I want an attendance report because if they miss 2 in a row, I don't want you taking up a slot, and I'm willing to amend that motion, that original.
your bylaw stipulates that if they miss 3 meetings in a row, they get reported to you guys.
Yeah,
like the
well,
normal.
I want that down to 2 because we have a lot of demand, and I just want to make sure they're actually committed to helping the community, not just putting something else on their academy nomination resume.
Sounds like we're going to amend the resolution.
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Yeah, we
Bring
got
us
2 amendments so far on that resolution.
Is the amendment to the resolution making it 5 non-residents,
It's 5 non-residents, and it's
2 misses.
2 consecutive misses.
2 consecutive? Okay.
All right, so on this topic, though, is any other further discussion?
High schoolers.
Jump on in, Councilman Guile.
I wanted to say to Ms. Skoma, thank you very much for coming out here and speaking. I'm very impressed with your tenacity and how brave you were to come up here and confront us. and I would have voted for you if he did not. So thank you very much. Nominate, I apologize. Let's nitpick words here.
All right, I will call the vote. 5 non-residents, 2 consecutive misses for the resolution, and the list of names that I will not go through again. Okay. All right, do I got that, Ray? All right, I'll call the vote. Councilman Guile, no buttons.
Yes.
Yes.
The suspense.
Yes.
Yes. All right, ayes have it, unanimously so moved. Congratulations. Thank you. All right.
All right, just a few announcements. A few weeks ago, the Code Compliance Department, under the direction of Troy, held a workshop in this room, and there were about 30 people from the public that attended. I don't know, Troy, did you have any comments you wanted to make about that?
How we doing? No, it was really well attended. Public's very engaged. It could not have gone any better than I thought. I mean, there were some other officials who were present, and they asked great questions. We talked about where we were, where we're at, where we're going, and very pleased with the whole thing.
Mr. Manager, good job. I was here as well, and thank you and your staff and everybody else that did it. Gave opportunity for the public to come meet you.
Sure.
For all the keyboard warriors that didn't show up, they can maybe come to another meeting in the future. But thank
Appreciate
you.
it. We'll do another one.
All right. Seeing
Thank you,
nothing
Troy.
else?
All right, there will be a Linear Park Community Workshop this Thursday, November the 9th at 5:30 in this room, so the public is invited to attend. All city facilities will be closed on this Friday, November the 10th, in observance of the Veterans Day holiday. Mark your calendars for the Holiday Craft Show, which will take place at the Community Center a week from Friday on November 17th, and then again on Saturday, November 18th, from 9 to 3 on Saturday and from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Friday. Don't forget about it, we have a special council meeting scheduled for Monday, November the 27th at 6 p.m. in this room. And it is getting close to that season, so the city's Christmas tree lighting will be Thursday, November 30th at 6 p.m. at the community center, and the city's Christmas parade will take place on Saturday, December 9th at 10 a.m. And finally, the last regular city council meeting for 2023 will be held on December the 11th, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Lance. All right, moving along. Kim, public hearings.
Okay, public hearing 5A is ordinance number 2315CC, an ordinance of the City of Destin, Florida, requiring undergrounding of utilities, changing the name of Chapter 18 of the Code of Ordinances from Streets and Public Places to Utilities, Streets and Public Places, amending Chapter 18 of the Code of Ordinances to establish a new Article 5, undergrounding of utility facilities, and making other amendments to Chapter 18 for consistency with Article 5. Establishing provisions requiring the undergrounding of utilities, providing for private property owners' responsibility, providing for definitions, providing for phased conversion of existing overhead utility facilities, providing for certain permitting requirements, prohibiting permits for new overhead utility facilities, providing for exceptions, providing for penalties, providing for findings of fact, providing for incorporation into the Code of Ordinances, conflicting provisions, severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
And seeing that this is a public hearing, at this time, if anyone wants to speak on this specific topic, this is your time to do so. Seeing none, I will close the public comments and entertain a motion at this time.
I move to approve ordinance 23-15CC on second reading.
Motion and a second. Any further discussions? Seeing none, calling the vote verbally.
Tori Guile, yes.
Dewey Destin, I vote yes.
Jim Bagby, I vote yes.
Yes. Thank you for not conforming. That was funny. All right, ayes have it unanimously so moved. Kim, 5B.
Okay, 5B is ordinance 2318CN, an ordinance of the City of Destin, Florida, relating to a natural gas utility franchise of the Okaloosa Gas District, extending ordinance 1302CN for an additional 10 years pursuant to the same terms and conditions set forth in ordinance 1302CN, providing for repealing, severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
Seeing that this is a public hearing at this time, if anyone wishes to speak on this specific topic, this is your time to do so. 3, 2. Closing the public comments.
To the one question that council asked last time,
Yep.
Councilmember Destin, I did ask the attorney for the gas district if they would consider having a council member as a board member, and they actually said they are considering that for 2024, and so that conversation will continue in the upcoming months.
That's very fortuitous, and in that case, I'll move that we renew their franchise for 5 years instead of 10 to give them a little ambition to move forward with that.
All right, I got a motion for 5-year franchise extension. Do I have a second?
Is that a de minimis change?
No, we'd have to re-advertise, I think.
Uh,
We'll wait 2 more weeks.
Push it.
Well, I'll leave the motion as it stands.
I'll second him just to back him up.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any thoughts?
Back to second reading next time, right?
Yeah, well, we'll have to have another reading next time, yeah.
And you might touch base with the attorney representing the gas district and see if they're greatly affronted by that, but we certainly want them to consider consideration, and this will give us another bite at the apple on it.
I had the impression they were going to consider it with or without, but I'll let you all vote.
All
I
right.
heard that 25 years ago.
All right, we got another round in the chamber then. So I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Nope. Call and vote.
Yeah.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
All right, ayes have it, so moved. 5 years, it'll be pushed to second reading next meeting. All right, public hearings, 5C.
This is ordinance 2316CN, an ordinance of the City of Destin amending appropriations for certain expenditures, expenses, capital improvements, and certain indebtedness for the City of Destin, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2022 and ending September 30th, 2023, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Seeing that this is a public hearing, at this point, I will open the floor for public comments on the specific topic. Do I have anyone here from the audience? Seeing none, I will close the public comments and entertain a motion at this time.
I move to approve ordinance 2316CN on first reading.
Got a motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussions? First reading, yes, sir. All right. All right, calling the vote. Councilman Guile.
I vote yes.
Yeah.
And I vote yes.
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 Sounds like we're going to talk about this one on the second reading. All right, ayes have it, so moved. All right, public hearings are over, and we'll go to public comments from our council. Councilman Guile.
Thank you. I have actually two things. I must have failed to put one of them on the agenda, and I apologize for that, but I don't feel like we should get out of here before 10 o'clock, so.
Take it
Now,
away,
first
then.
one is for Lieutenant Fulcrum. Him and I have already had a discussion about this.
Captain.
Captain, I apologize. I've done that to you twice now, Captain. I apologize. I've been hearing complaints about people weaving in and out of traffic, but it was my understanding that the left lane is a passing only. Anybody in the left lane is breaking the law. Is that correct?
So the statute that you're referring to is 316.081, and paraphrasing that statute says that anytime you have a multi-lane roadway, if someone is in the left-hand lane and they know or reasonably should know that someone's trying to pass them, they have to move over unless they are passing someone themselves or they're preparing to make a left-hand turn.
All right. So they are the ones that are complaining might be the ones that are breaking the law.
It's very possible, yes.
Very possible. All right. How many people have we issued tickets to? Do you know that in the past year for those people that are just hanging out in that left lane?
That I don't know. I can do some research and get back with you on it.
It's not that important, but I hope that we can make a point moving forward to get them out of that left lane and allow traffic to flow more freely before the next tourist season. I saw some heads rolls. I don't care.
Like it. Hey,
I'm one of those weavers.
yeah. Whatever keeps you inside your car.
You know, I was going to let something go, Kim, but now I'm not.
I know what it is. Mayor, you're going to regret this.
Yep, you shouldn't have spoke up. Next is the project status update. And Mr. Miller, if you're watching, he came to me during Halloween and told me he really appreciated this. So much that it brought him and his family together because his daughter watches with him because you are just the cutest thing, Mayor Bobby Wagner. So if you could look at that little camera and tell little Miss Miller hello, thank you very much. I was going to let that go, brother. Project status update, Crosstown Connector. We're still where we were before. We're waiting on a 2-year delay, a new EIR, state 1-year delay. So we're still looking at funding, and we haven't changed anything at this point. Is that correct?
That's correct. On the 11th, December 11th, we're going to bring options to the council again to discuss as far as what measures to take to go forward. There's 3 options, but we can get into that in more detail on the 11th.
Okay, December 11th, wonderful. Linear Park, DAG Engineering Design, waiting on FPL to provide feedback on the design. At that point, will be approximately 30%. Have we heard anything from DAG?
We're doing the workshop now on this 8th, this Thursday. So FP&L's come back, and now we're doing the workshop this
Okay,
Thursday.
so the public can see there's a workshop this
And
Thursday.
just to throw information into the linear trail, Jeff and I wrote a grant for the Sun Trail, and it's part of a larger picture on my name, and we're going to try to get a lot of money out of that this year from Florida Sun Trail to find a way to pay for it and not be our money.
Okay, and that Sun Trail will go from the Walton County line all the way to the Destin Bridge.
That is the regional scope. Inside that regional scope, we can ask for grants to connect those dots. And so the linear trail checks every box that they have as far as a walkable mixed-use path that's really a elongated trail detached from the roadway.
All right. Tarpon Beach Park, TDC's leading the engineer design. We're approximately 60% of design completion process now. Have we heard anything else from TDC's engineer on this design? Do we have anything in hand or an estimated date?
I am waiting for the county to get us a set of plans so we can start the permitting process.
County needs plans. Okay. Also at Tarpon Beach, I noticed there's people starting to park golf carts in there. We have no parking, but today I was going down there, I saw some golf carts going in there, and people trying to go down in there, use that as access to the beach point. I don't see an issue unless somebody gets stuck or there's some type of vandalism, but I think it's something somebody should be aware of. Harbor dredging.
Gile?
I'm sorry.
Could I step back real quick on the TDC Tarpon Beach?
You can do whatever you want. That's why
Well,
we're having this discussion.
Thank you. You said that we're waiting for the county to do something for permitting? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we need a set of construction plans so we can do the permitting.
Now, is that the normal process to get permitting before it goes through the committees to have feedback to get the 60% plans? So we'll get permitting first?
No, it's all going to be going concurrently.
Say that again?
It'll be going concurrently.
What does that mean?
We'll be taking that to all the committees while we're going through the permitting process.
So we'll be getting permits for construction and design?
Correct.
And what happens if we don't like what we see when it gets presented?
We'll go to you, we'll get the feedback, and we'll make the changes when we get to 90% plans.
Is that like the normal process for the community development or designing, permitting, and all that?
Yes, we're not deviating from anything.
Okay. So it's going to concurrently get permitting and plans while it's going to all the committees. Then we're getting 60% design presented to us as well after all the committees. And we might have permits already, but we can still make changes.
The permit won't be final until everything's through all the committees.
Okay.
But we're going to start the process internally. This is internal permits.
Okay. Thank you.
No, perfect. Harbor dredging, last meeting, we approved, or not last meeting, a couple meetings ago, we approved $28,500 for a engineering evaluation. Have we started to move on that engineering evaluation or issued an RFP for an engineer?
You're talking about the dredging? Sorry.
Yeah, the harbor dredging.
Yeah, they were out last week and they started doing the survey work last week. I'm not sure where they're at with it yet. Depending on how windy it was, it dictates on how how much work they can get done out there.
Okay, so last week, the week of October, they started surveying. October 30th. The things I do for this community, sir.
Listen, I know, you should get paid more.
Yeah,
We'll double it.
thank you. That was my next item right here. Pickleball courts. Scott Jenkins updating the design and surveys. They're complete. And we're waiting for it to go to the committees. Has it gone to any of the committees yet?
No, we'll have the revised plans by around Thanksgiving, and then we're going to take it through the committees.
And then I do have a point on that. I highlighted that. The Parks and Rec have said they're not doing committees for November and December, yet the next step is to take it to Parks and Rec. Is there a way to have a special meeting for them or to veto their cancel?
There is a way. We just need to know when we're ready to do it, and we can ask them
All right.
to meet.
All right.
Mr. Bagby had a comment. You said,
Sandy's right over there, you might ask her.
The chairman of the.
You good with it? Okay.
We just didn't have anything on the agenda, so we.
Oh, yeah, no, and I don't, yeah. And I was aware, I'm sorry. They did have nothing on the agenda, but I just wanted to bring that up now that we have a conflicting point.
well, thank you for participating, Councilman Bagby. I appreciate that.
Glad to help.
Four Prong Lake. This is one of Councilman Bagby's projects as well. So from what I understand, we're getting ready to do the underground portion of it. You said you had an update on that, Mr. Burgess? The directional
Yeah, we have to
drilling?
get it, oh, I'm sorry. We have to get plans from Gator Boring to run through the permitting process, and we're getting those now.
So Gator Boring
Mm-hmm.
needs plans.
They need to provide us plans.
All right, do they have a deadline, or do they give an estimated time?
I'm not aware of one, but we'll
Okay.
touch base with them this week.
And I want to interject on that too. When I was at the appropriation meeting with Jeff, that seemed to be, between that and Stallman, were the two that, out of all 7.5 projects that we presented, afterwards, I had a lot of feedback and a lot of their staff come to me about Four Prong Lake, because we had both HOAs there. I think we had about 25 residents from that community there, so we filled up half the room as Destin residents for the Four Prongs. So that I want to thank everyone for coming out, and Stallman was the other one. But on the Four Prong, one other district that was interested is the Water District. So if we can link them in, they're very interested on making sure and doing a study or whatever they need to know if 98 and the 6 laning had then affected it, or if there's something going on there. I think the state is very interested in attacking both Four Prong Lake and Stallman. Yep.
Thank you. Crystal Beach Park, we had the appraisal ordered. Has it been presented to council? I don't remember seeing it. It says it was completed, it will be completed.
Oh, sorry, Crystal Beach Park, you're talking
Shores
about
of Crystal.
Mr. Lankin's property with the
Right.
White House on it?
Right.
Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, we got the appraisal, and I spoke with the property owner. He's very willing to sell the property to the city, but, you would have to talk to Crystal about where we'd get the money from. He did indicate that he might sell it to the city for less than the appraised value.
All right, has the appraisal been made available so that we can see what that value is? Or?
Yep, I'll be happy to give it to anyone that asks for it.
Thank you so much, I appreciate that. One Harbor Boulevard, closed, good to go?
Closed on October 17th.
You're, very good job. That's all I have on the project list. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? Thank you.
Councilman
That was
Destin.
for you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. At the last meeting, I requested an update on the cost for a four-way stop at Spring Lake and Kelly.
Yep, and Mr. Burgess has that ready for you. Mr. Destin?
So I provided the city manager a cost breakout for each one of those intersections, and each one is about between $1,000 and $1,100 to convert into an all-way stop.
Okay.
Signage, thermoplastic, poles, everything.
And is that with the lighted sign like we put on?
That's with a traditional retro-reflective stop sign.
How much more is the lighted sign? I know that we put that on Cybert and it was somewhat more, but not horribly.
The number escapes me right now, I apologize.
Well, we can look it up, can't we? Okay, and Ray, if you would please put on next meeting's agenda under my name, decision on that four-way stop. That's all I have, Mayor.
Awesome.
When you say next agenda, did you mean the 27th or the 11th? Just to be clear for the clerk.
Good deal. Councilman Bagby.
Okay, I have one thing not on, the R&R fund that was supposed to be on this, Ms. Crystal has promised me, it will be ready and on the next agenda. That's the 27th. Okay, so we'll see the spreadsheet of all the equipment we own and how much shelf life it has left, or how much useful life it has left, and how much it's going to cost us to replace all that. Two things. I would like to nominate Mr. Guy Tadlock to the Harbor CRA Advisory Committee. My nominee, appointee, whatever, has had to resign. Jan has other things she has to take care of, personal things, and I want to thank her for her years of service to the committees in this city, and nominate Mr. Tadlock.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, calling the vote.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Ayes have it, so moved. Congratulations, Mr. Guy Tadlock.
Thank you, Guy. My next, yeah. You can leave now. Yeah. So-
John's hair was in the way.
Yeah. The next item under my name is, I want to thank the staff. Gosh, I think half the staff was out there. The sheriff's office had 2 people. They went out and they surveyed 3 points, actually more than 3 points. They surveyed 3 points by Joe's Crab Trap. They surveyed 2 or 3 by Barracuda, and then they surveyed like 5 down by our property that we own at the shores of Crystal Beach. And so what they found was at the Crab Trap, the distance to the wet sand was 30 feet. The distance at Barracuda was 50 feet. And the distance at the shores of the 5, the average was 35 feet to the wet sand. So, which does not mean that that's the mean high water line, but since there's a drop off down there where the water was coming up, that's probably a pretty good guess, because the mean high water line is an elevation. It's not a fixed distance from the monuments. So in talking with the sheriff's office, you know, as I had said before, if it were 80 or 100 or 120, I would probably ask them to revisit the enforcement of 20 feet. But since it was 30, 50, and an average of 35, you know, 30, 20 feet, people using the dry sand, walking along dry sand, whatever they want to do, because that's the public beach there, then I'm fine with that. But if it continues to accrete sand, we can revisit this every couple of years. I also sent our attorney, just FYI, I sent our attorney last year's beach survey that the county does. They do it about every 2 or 3 years, which shows basically the same thing. So it's 2 independent, different entities looking at the same area, finding out the same thing. I think there may be some questions. So on ECL or mean high water lines or the process, so I'll entertain those, but I just wanted to report back to you that the staff did a great job. Really appreciate everybody being out there, Michael and his team in particular, but we had everybody. Lisa was out there. We even had an engineer out there. I was impressed. And we had, not counting Lance and
Got his
myself
steps
and
in.
others. Yeah, it was a cast of 10 or 15. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Any?
Yeah, so thank you for doing that, going out there. So does that mean, you have to educate me, does that mean that like beach vendors and people like that aren't supposed to set up in that 20, 35, 50 average that you're talking about? Is that what that?
I believe that's what
Is that what that would mean?
I believe that's what our rules are, is that they can't set up on the public without unless they are on public beach, unless they are permitted through the city. Okay. Is that still our process? We don't own the biggest beach in town where where the county gets to pick the vendor there. So really, we're talking public beach. That's state land, but we can control the vending, I think, out there. So yes.
So like a beach chair's right up on the
Yeah.
wet sand, in theory, they're not supposed
They
to
can't
be
block
there.
you from that, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what that would mean.
While we're talking about it, I always had a thought, kind of last January, as we go through the BTR process this year for the beach chairs, is that something we could add to the beach chair BTRs of wherever they're going to be setting up? That we all agree, both parties, code and that public entity, that, hey, here's for this specific parcel, here's that line, where the 20 feet is for traversing and everything, but per the land that you're allowed to set up on, here's what that line looks like, or is that just a nightmare for code to be able to enforce and talk to? I don't want to create a unwinnable battle from both sides, but I do want to try to limit two things: ghost chairs as far as how many they can set up, and just where in the proximity they can set up.
Yes, it's our intent to have a sincere and deep meeting with the beach vendors, and again, there was a lot of issues throughout the season and towards the end of it. I'm in belief that our initial meeting will be their warning, and then after that, whatever, citations need to happen will happen. We're done playing games.
Anyone have thoughts, comments on that idea as far as trying to be upfront and transparent, both parties in the BTR process for where that line is for them to operate out of?
My question is, in order to have a particular line on each particular parcel, we would have to have the the erosion established on each one. So my understanding is we're going with the 20 feet because we know that we are going to be good then. Otherwise, we have to do it for every parcel as we go down the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my sense would be to have the code enforcement or have Lance see if we can procure a device, the cost of a device. I know we can procure a device because I offered to buy them for the Walton County Sheriff when I was the TDC director. But that will, within inches, tell you exactly where you are lat long. And so we have what's recorded in the county documents, exactly where the ECL points are. So it's not a straight line. It kind of zigzags along the beach, and some places it's more and some places it's less. But 30 is about as narrow as I've found in both the data points that we have. So if we could procure one of those for code, then you could go to that lat and long if that were an issue, or we could ask the sheriff if he would fund one of those for the beach patrol. Then you could see. But I'm generally happy, 30 feet. If it's more than 30 feet from the water or from the wet sand, then they're probably questionable. If they're within 30 feet, they're probably not questionable, but somebody might come and say, I have down to the mean high water line. And let's remember, this is only to the park, to Henderson Beach State Park. This is only in the beach that's been renourished where an ECL has actually been established. This isn't in portions out on Holiday Isle that did not get a beach nourishment, or portions between Holiday Isle, like Restaurant Row, that did not get a beach nourishment. So whatever their deed says is what their deed says. So that no ECL was established there. But you can see what a GPS locator, and then it's real easy. You can just go, it's a spreadsheet. I know we've got a copy because I've seen our copy, and you can just go there and you can go, here's where it is. Here's the point from the monument. So, yeah.
All right. Councilman Schmidt. Anything?
There's no motion to make.
Oh, no, that was just, no, that was,
my turn.
yes, your turn.
Yes, thank you.
Jump on
I
in.
love having my turn. Yes. First, did anybody speak to you about the recognition of the Kidney Foundation?
If not, I'm happy to jump back in.
I got presented, asked to do a day, this day recognition proclamation for National Kidney Foundation. And it's, this month is happening, and so I was gonna see what the process is. I'd like to possibly put that in the November meeting to recognize this person. And do I put them in touch with Ray or you or the city manager?
Tamara and Lance? Yeah. All right.
Okay. That'd be fantastic. Thank you. I think she's a donor to her father, so she's got quite a story. Thank you. My understanding, we got a lot of issues, I think we always have, with Compass and EnerGov. We continue to have issues. I don't think we've ever not had issues. Do we have, is there something coming to us soon to kind of bring this up, to talk about our plan of action with this software or company or whatever? Is there something on the horizon for the council to look at and discuss?
Yes. So we've been working with Tyler Technologies, the parent company for that software, and we've been bringing up all of our issues and documenting everything. And we have their representatives coming out to meet with staff, with the department heads on November, I think it's 15th. We're giving them that opportunity to talk to us, and then we've also put them on the draft agenda to meet with you in December. It kind of depends on what comes out of that meeting. If they are willing to work with us in terms of contract and move aside while we get new systems in place and its costs remain reasonable, they may not even need to come talk to you. But if they are an issue for us and the people of Destin are best served by them coming and being at that microphone, then we'll put them right there. That is the plan.
So that, will we potentially hear from you guys at the end of November about that meeting? you're
Yes,
saying?
right after that meeting, as soon as Lance and all of us are able to process what the messaging is, we'll certainly come to you. And when we come to you with that, we'll also come to you with the plans that have been in the works to navigate this situation.
Okay.
So we're already,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll bring you some information.
Thank you. Back in September, we brought up the landscaping contract with whoever we have, specifically the areas of Main Street. Was that ever reviewed or put together, thoughts or ideas or plans on what's missing, what's wrong, how do we fix it, what it's going to cost?
I'll have to go back and check, but we did ask our concrete contractor, Sammy Hayes, he does install sod as well and do irrigation repairs, to put us a quote together. I'll have to go back and look at that. We've had, and just to let the council know, we've had a recent change in staffing. So the person that was kind of handling that has accepted another position, so I've been kind of wearing two hats right now.
Okay. I appreciate that. Do we, and I know I apologize, this might be because of scheduling or whatever, but the Parks and Rec fee schedule, which meeting is that going to be on this calendar year? I assume in 2023?
December 11th. Is it December 11th? That is, yeah, December 11th.
December 11th, fantastic. Do we have any update? I know we have a lot of parks, citywide comprehensive plans, parks plans, strategic plans. Do we have an update specifically on the Dalton Threadgill and Morgan Sports redesign plan?
We were bringing that to you December 11th also.
Sweet, it's gonna be a good Christmas. All right. And then, Jeff, you mentioned something about another December 11th, the EIR. Is that the thing that we tabled at a previous meeting? Ryan's presentation? Is that what you were also referring to?
Related to the crosstown?
Say that again?
Yeah, what I was speaking.
The item that got tabled, or not tabled, but pushed, that's what you're talking about, coming back on the 11th?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, fantastic. And that is all I have. Thank you, sir.
All right, good deal. I appreciate that. I had Morgan's playground highlighted as well. All right, so the one thing on there, you guys, I threw it in the agenda packet, so if you read the FAQ, you know just as much as I do about the Florida Sun Trail Master Plan. In a nutshell, in the past, it's always been a $25 million a year annual reoccurring budget that they disperse as grants. This year, they've doubled it now to $50 million moving forward. So that alone, I felt, I guess, pushed me to want a master plan for our Sun Trail. It goes through the city of Destin. Luckily, we're not more than 5 miles wide, which means we get to pick and choose exactly where this trail goes to best serve the regional trail and the residents. So I was going to hopefully task Parks and Rec and any other committees that you guys may think would fit, maybe Public Works and Safety, on helping us devise a master plan that year over year that we could ask for the grant money for. And that way, we're not just cherry picking and randomly throwing projects at it, but we kind of have a comprehensive plan to make this trail a regional approach. Just some things to note is DOD on Okaloosa Island has finally approved the county's multimodal trail, and our PD&E study for the new Destin Bridge in the far future will also have a complete street, which means that there will be pedestrian-friendly, at least 10-foot sidewalks. So as it connects into Destin all the way to the Walton County line, we have the opportunity to tell where it goes and potentially get a lot of funding for it. The grant period this year already closed, and out of the Okaloosa, Walton County, we are the only one that applied, and we have 3 projects in there. Under the bridge at Destin, Linear Trail, and Crosstown Connector are the 3 that fit the bucket, and we're asking for the appropriate amounts for the trail on each. Obviously, the Linear Trail is all the trail, and so that's where we're really hoping to fund it fully. But for the sake of the master plan, I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on potential committees that need to go through, and any direction or any kind of thoughts that you guys have on the idea. All right, seeing none, Public Works and Parks it is. Keep it light. And that's all I have to work on. I already texted Miss Irons to our PIO, and so we have her in contact now. Just like that, technology. All right, City Attorney.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Good deal. All right, public comments. 3 minutes on the mic. Yes, sir. All right, Gary, name and address, and floor is yours. Turn that button. Oh. Yes, sir. And you got 6 technically if she wants to wave it over to you. You got 6 if your wife wants to wave you some 3 minutes, but I don't want to get into the details. I'm sure you do.
She probably wants 2 of my
I was trying to get sly there and.
Okay, so I'm Gary Troop. I live at 86 Shira Street, but we own the lot, beach lot, directly adjacent to the Crab Trap. And so this first thing that you have, it should be the colored copy. That comes out of your 15-year post-construction monitoring report. And I just basically took that, and what's important is you look at the dash line is the erosion control line before the beach restoration. And what that displays is that, particularly like at the Crab Trap, so at R47, that's the Crab Trap, and then as you move to your left looking at it, where the match line B is approximately where my property is. I'm a little bit east of that. And what you need to note there is, in the middle of the Crab Trap, a lot of sand was added. When you come to my place, the dash line to the green line, not nearly as much. So where you make your measurement is critical on the beach. And that's why the erosion control line is my unique property line for my property, because it's where the mean high tide line was at the time of the ECL. So if you look at the pink sort of line down there by the dash line, that's where they, I think, say it is today. So you see very close to that dash line. Okay, so if you look at the second thing I gave you, it looks like this. And I've known Jim Bagby for many years, 18 years. I like Jim. I agree with him most time, but I don't on this at all. I don't agree with their analysis. So if you look at that, that's my property. And as you come down, this is a recent survey, 2020, because we're building a house there. And it shows you where the ECL line is. Does everybody see where that is? Okaloosa County erosion control line right here. And then it shows you where the mean high tide line is. And you cannot go down the beach on one day and say, here's the spot of the ECL line, and I'm looking at the water, and I think that's the mean high tide line. Everybody knows it goes in and out based on what the weather is, what the time of year is, you know, what's going on. So it's meaningless to do it one day. But you can look at an official survey and see, I have 7 feet, 8 feet on one end of my property between the mean high tide line and 12 on the other. What Mr. Bagby wants to do is he wants to take a peanut butter spread of where it goes in and out, and then he wants to apply it across private property, okay? That's a violation of private property rights. He's not going to be able to do that. So if you want to do that, you want to grab more beach, grab's not the right word, but if you want to go and say, we're going to do the ECL line, then you're going to need to plot it each day and say, okay, here's the mark of the ECL, because eyeballing it is just going to create more friction. And if you think the homeowners are going to sit there and wait for a sheriff to come with a special GPS set that in a 2018 article that was in the Northwest Florida Daily News is $21,000, and it takes 5 to 10 minutes to measure each point. There's 61 points from James Lee Park, okay? James Lee Park to Henderson Beach Park. Multiply that by the number of minutes it would take. It's about 8 hours a day. If you got one team, if you're going to do 2 teams, you're going to have to spend money to get another GPS set, okay? Now, maybe those sets have come down since 2018, but your guy's not certified either. He's just trained. And you're
Thank you,
talking
sir.
about property rights. So think about it.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Nope.
No, that's all right. It's the same topic. Go ahead. I just wanted 30 seconds.
Hi, Patty Brown, 86 Shira Street, Destin, Florida. Because I wear so many hats in this city, I'm sure you're all wondering what hat I have on today. Well, in the past, you know that I wear the airport hat because I'm a pilot. I wear the harbor hat because I've got a short-term or a day charter business. I wear the short-term rental hat because I live in a short-term rental neighborhood, even though it hasn't always been the majority of the property owners. When I moved there in '05, we were the majority. And I also wear the beach hat. And so today, I've got my beach hat on. But prior to that, I wanted to thank all the council members for establishing the short-term rental impact committee. I am the chair of that committee. We've had a great group of people. Ms. Kim's amazing. We tried to be fair and equitable to all concerns. I think we put together a really good report that you will see on the 11th of December, and we are hoping that you will see it as we do and pass it on to the state. So, back to my beach hat. So back in what I believe was 2008 when we did the beach nourishment, the beachfront owners did not want it. They actively fought it. We had it rammed down our throat. And we even at a point acquiesced and said, we will pay for our share of the beach, which was about $30,000 as I recall. City of Destin said, no way, Jose. You are going to have an ECL line. And this is the laser beam in the sand that will never be questioned. And as my husband showed you on this paper, it is the dotted line. And you can see that it goes up and down. So some of you were around. Dewey, you were around. I think, Jim, you were around too. So it was ugly. It was beachfront owners versus tractors. And I think Casella would have run over a few beachfront owners if he had had the choice. So with this erosion control line on, as you have also in your possession, on this lot, it is not 30 feet, Jim. And you know, we gave you our survey. We also, at your request, did an analysis of the Taylor thing, and we gave that to you too. You never responded at all, even though we spent quite a bit of time on that. I have been quite frustrated. I've written letters to the council regarding you, Jim. I have also complained to the city attorney because it is extremely frustrating to me that with the number of people, let's see, there was 191 people online with the city council meeting and probably 30 in the room. When you were making statements that were alluding to 30, 40, 50, 60 feet of public beach. And so the thing you don't understand is how aggressive the public, the locals, the tourists, the non-beachfront owners are towards the beachfront owner, or are towards us. And so I think it's reckless to make those kind of statements, because if you go on any of the social media sites, Nextdoor, I'm on all the Destin local and tourist Facebook pages, and I read what they say. And people come up. It's no longer the truth. It's the fact of social media. And so you'll have people come down and say, well, Jim Bagby said I can be here, and you'll have people say, well, it's 30 feet from the water. No, it's 30 feet from here. And so basically, nobody knows what it is. And so it's extremely frustrating. I look at my lot and I say, well, the sheriff isn't protecting 12 feet of my property from that's private. And so I think that to do this blanket thing 30 is very unfair and actually illegal.
Can I ask a quick question?
Jump in.
Can I ask you a quick question, if you don't mind? You might not know the answer, but between your property and Henderson Beach State Park, do you know how many homeowners own those properties and use it as a primary or not a rental?
I can only
It's okay if you don't.
only speak for the 13 lots at Destiny Shores.
Okay.
For sure. And it's probably 50%
Okay.
homeowners
Okay.
and 50 that are short-term rentals, or they don't live here, they just kind of use them as,
Thank you, Patty.
you know. You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Right.
No, I just wanted to thank Mr. Bagby for appointing Mr. Tadlock. I think he'll do really well on the Harbor CRA. And if any of you have people that are not attending any committee other than the Harbor CRA or Parks and Rec, which I'm on, I'll be glad to help you find somebody. I know it's hard. I had to do it for years, and it's not always easy. The other thing I wanted to say is, I noticed tonight, and I don't know if you noticed it, Kevin, or not, but the street light at Juniper and Indian Trail is out, and that's a bus stop. So I need the city's help to get FPL out there in a hurry. I can call them, but you know, it takes 6 weeks to get a street light put on if you're just a citizen. So since it is a bus stop and since the time change and we've got kids out there in the evenings and in early mornings, we would need your help. And that's Juniper, north end of Juniper and Indian Trail. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Just push the button and then name and address. There you go.
Ruth Ann Park, 3100 Scenic 98, Capri by the Gulf. It's not my permanent residence, but it is my other home because I'm down here all the time. We have 24 different owners, well, not exactly all different owners, but almost 24 different owners at the Capri, and I know y'all all know the Capri. I'm just kind of worried about the way that a lot of the non-beachfront rental people are told to come over and just camp out on our beach or be confrontational with our umbrella setup people. The umbrella setup people are so nice and respectful to all the people that come on our beach. They even rent to them or help them find a spot that is not on our property. So with the ECL line, and they all refer to that a lot now, and we've had a lot of confrontation from people, and I'm going to say Barracuda because that was mainly, they had a big campaign against, seemed like our property. I don't know why just us. I mean, there's other properties on both sides that have rentals. It's dangerous to start saying, okay, this is it, or this is it. We need a good line, and the line that needs to be there consistent all the way up and down the beach. Because all the umbrella rental people, they're working for us. They're not working, against the people that come over, but they get so harassed by that. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Anyone else? Public comments? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Paul Jones. I live at 3484 Scenic Highway 98. I just want to say, with respect to the discussion about the beach chair vendors, you can have a discussion with the beach chair vendors and code compliance and anybody else, just the two of you, with respect to the public beaches. But with respect to private property owners, like myself, who own beachfront property, there's a third party that's involved. And we ought to be party to any discussions about how you're going to handle that, because these are contracts that we make with the beach share vendors. And if you're doing something that's going to interfere with our contractual rights, then we ought to be involved in those discussions as well. Thank you.
We'll add you. Anyone else? All right, I'll close the public comments at this time. And before I adjourn, I just forgot under my name to thank Matt Gates for helping us with Crab Island and postponing it 1 year. We really appreciate his help trying to keep it local and coming up with solutions. And as part of it, we know part of it is the environmental solutions. So I wanted to thank John over here from Luther's Pontoons. We have a bunch of seagrass and other environmental awareness stuff that we want to push out and make sure that as we control Crab Island locally, that we do what is right for the environment and for our local businesses. And so you'll start seeing a lot of public information when it comes to the environmental seagrass, prop scarring, and a lot of other things that come from the discussion of Crab Island. So if you guys are interested, one of them is the seagrass boating, seagrasssafe.com, and there's a few other ones. So we got plenty of stuff up here at City Hall now, and we are happy to drop it off and make it aware and online for everyone. So you'll start seeing a bunch of that get pushed out here locally as well. And with that, it is, look at that, 7:28. I think Vegas had it at 7:30, so whoever had the under one today, meeting adjourned.